Solving a linear inequality, problem type 3. All right, if you've seen any of the other videos I've made on inequalities, you'll have seen this message before. Alex is going to only be asking for one part of the answer. They're not going to ask you to do everything that I'm asking in this video, but I'm trying to prepare you for the exams where you will be asked for both graphing on a number line and interval notation. So I'll be doing a little bit more than Alex asks you to do on this problem. All right, so looking at the inequality we have here, 2 minus 5/6w is less than w plus 3/8. We want to get all the w's on one side and all the constants on the other side. I tend to put my variables on the left, so I like to move my variables to the left and put the constants on the right. Since we have variables on both sides, we really do have a choice on where we put our variables, but I'm going to put my variables on the left-hand side. So I'm going to start by moving this lone w over here to the other side. So if you have w, to get rid of it, you're doing minus w. Now, what's going on here, right here, we have negative 5/6w minus w. This is the same thing as saying negative 5/6w minus 1w. On your calculator, you can do negative 5/6 minus 1. If you turn that into a fraction, you should get negative 11/6. So this 2 right here drops down. Minus 11/6w is less than 3/8. We now are aiming to get this negative 6/11w completely by itself. So we want to move this 2 to the other side. Subtracting 2 on both sides, the negative 11/6w will come down. We now have 3/8 minus 2. You could do that in your calculator. So if you put in 3/8 minus 2 into your calculator is going to give you negative 13/8. So I'll put negative 13/8 here. Now we want to get w by itself. So we want to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of, and this one gets kind of confusing. Sometimes students want to multiply by the reciprocal of this guy. It's not that you're looking for the reciprocal of the thing on the left, it's that you're looking to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of the thing in front of your variable. So my variable has a negative 11/6 attached to it, so we're multiplying by the reciprocal of negative 11/6. So flipping it upside down, that's what the reciprocal is. You're multiplying by 6/11 on both sides. When you multiply by a negative number on both sides, you need to flip the direction of your inequality. So it was pointing towards the left, it'll now point towards the right. These negative 11s cancel, the 6's cancel, and it leaves me with just the w, which is what we wanted. You can do negative 13/8 times 6/11 on your calculator. That's what I'm going to go ahead and do right now. So negative 13/8 times 6/11. I have 39/44 as an answer, so positive 39/44. W is greater than positive 39/44. This is the answer that Alex is going to be looking for. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do a number line and interval answer so that you can get practice with that. So I'm just going to label wherever I want 39/44. Remember, if you have an underline on your inequality, on the number line, that'll translate to a closed circle, and an interval notation, that will have brackets. If there's no underline on your inequality, that will be an open circle on the number line and parentheses in interval notation. So we did not have an underline in our original inequality, which means we're doing an open circle. This says w greater than, so we're going to shade the greater than side. This is the greater than side. For our interval notation, we're starting at 39 over 44. It's an open circle, so it's a parenthesis. And then the shading goes all the way up to infinity, and infinities will always get parentheses. And that's my interval notation answer. Let's go ahead and do another problem. I'm going to go ahead and show you a different way that you can solve these problems. So the first way, we just used our calculator to deal with the fractions. This time, we're going to start by multiplying both sides by the LCD. So the LCD, the least common denominator here, we're looking at the 3's, which are denominators, and then this 4. The LCD is going to be 12. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 12, and I will be distributing the 12 inward. So you can do this on your calculator if you want. You could do 12 times 2/3. The way I like to do it in my head, I like to take the number I'm multiplying and divide it by the denominator. So 12 divided by 3 is 4, and then multiply by the numerator. 12 divided by 3 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. This is the same number that you would get if you did this in a calculator. You would get 12 times 2/3 is 8. 8w plus 12 times 1 is just 12, greater than or equal to. Right? So then 12 divided by 3 is 4. 4 times 8 is 32. So we get 32 minus 12 divided by 4 is 3. 3 times 7 is 21. You would get the same results if you did 8/3 times 12 in your calculator or 7/4 times 12 in your calculator. So now I have something that looks a lot better and I don't have any fractions to deal with at all. I'm going to start by moving my w's to the left-hand side. So I'm adding this 21w, so he's gone. That's going to cancel. 8w plus 21w is going to give me 29w plus 12, greater than or equal to 32. Now I'm going to subtract 12 on both sides. That will get the w completely by itself. So I have 29w greater than or equal to 20. To get w completely by itself, I'm dividing by 29 on both sides. Now you'd want to double check on your calculator that this doesn't simplify, but I know it doesn't, so I'm not going to check it on my calculator. So we have w is greater than or equal to 20 over 29. Right, so that's the answer Alex is looking for. For my number line answer, I'm just marking 20 over 29 wherever I want. We have an underline in our inequality, so I'm making a closed circle. So there's the underline right there. And it says greater than, so I'm shading the greater than side. If I read the inequality from left to right, or not the inequality, but the number line from left to right, I'm starting at 20 over 29, and it's a closed circle, so I put a bracket, and it goes all the way off to infinity, and infinities always get parentheses. And that's my interval notation answer. So you do have your choice on how you solve these. You can use the fractions, or you can use the LCD method. Maybe I'll go ahead and do one more example using the LCD method so that you get a chance to see it one more time. But either method is going to get you there, and it's all about what method makes you most happy. So here we have 3/7 v plus 1 is greater than negative v minus 2/5. The LCD here, we're looking at all the denominators. We have 7 and 5. The least common multiple of 7 and 5 is 35. So the LCD is 35. I'm going to multiply both sides by 35. Remember, you're distributing it in to all the terms. I'm going to do my same trick where I do 35 divided by 7 is 5. 5 times 3 is 15. So I have 15v. You could also, once again, plug it into your calculator. 35 times 1 is 35, greater than 35 times negative v is going to be negative 35v. And here we have 35 divided by 5 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14, so minus 14. I'm going to put my v's on the left-hand side, so adding 35v to both sides. 15v plus 35v is going to give me 50v plus 35 greater than negative 14. Subtracting 35 off both sides. The 35s will cancel. 50v is greater than negative 49. To get the v by itself, divide both sides by 50. That's the coefficient on the v. Now we have v is greater than negative 49 over 50. And there's the answer Alex wants. On my number line, plotting negative 49 over 50, it's an open circle, and then the greater than direction is this way. So my interval notation will start with negative 49 over 50, and it will go all the way to infinity, and there's my interval notation answer. All right, so that's all there is for this topic. I will see you guys on the next video. Keep on working hard.